Hey everybody, it's Kendra. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you've been here before. So my video today is going to be all about celery juice. Cheers, if you're celery juicing like moi. Yeah, celery juice. So this is the thing. I think the whole celery juicing trend started like a year and a half ago. I did not hear about this until I want to say March of 2019. So yeah, like 6 months ago. My girlfriend Leslie, love you Leslie, keeps sending the weird health trends my way. She texted me one day and was like, hey, have you heard about this celery juice trend? It's all over Instagram. And my immediate reaction was like, who is drinking celery juice? That sounds disgusting. Like, I would sometimes throw like 2 stalks of celery in my juice when I was juicing, but I never thought about doing like straight full-on celery juice. It sounded disgusting to me. Also, around the time that my dear friend mentioned this celery juicing trend, I was dealing with a bunch of doctor's appointments and doctors and not getting anywhere with my health. Let's see, I was seeing my primary care, my integrative doctor, who I love. I love both of these people, but they totally like don't know what to do with me. My naturopath, a sleep doctor, a gastro. I also had an endoscopy done. What else? Can't really remember. Basically, the last 5 years, ever since we moved back to America, I felt pretty crappy. I am super tired all the time. Like, anything I do will just wipe me out. Like, for example, filming this video and editing this video, I'll be pooped after doing this. Like, this takes a lot out of me. You know, there'd be days I would do groceries in the morning. I would, you know, do like 2 or 3 different stores, maybe run a couple other errands, come home, and that was it for the day. That was it for my energy. So, you know, I've really been trying to figure this out, and I've gone to doctors and I haven't really gotten a lot of help. So yeah, chronic fatigue, I get headaches and migraines, and like these things last for at least like 48 hours. Acne, I was definitely getting like a lot of acne, like the big, nasty, like painful cystic acne around like my jaw area, chin, sometimes like above my lip, sometimes back here. Just like painful. And it's also like really, it's really hard living in a society where so much emphasis is placed on appearance. And also in California, I was modeling, so it's like really hard to book jobs if you've got like cystic acne, you know. So yeah, acne, headaches, digestive stuff. I was nauseous all the time. Like, I've been nauseous for years. I would constantly, I would say this to people and they're like, are you pregnant? Are you sure you're not pregnant? Like, no, I'm not pregnant. Bloated, like after I would eat, I would be super, super bloated. I'd be constipated a lot. Let's see, I'd be kind of moody, especially like PMS-y time. I'd be super bitchy. Yeah. So like lots and lots of fun stuff, right? So yeah, anyway, I've been dealing with this crap for the last few years. I really have been trying to focus on this the last couple years, was really hitting it hard the beginning of 2019, and was just kind of feeling like I wasn't getting anywhere. So then in April, I picked up this book, Liver Rescue by Anthony William, also known as The Medical Medium. I picked up this book, I started flipping through it, and started learning more about liver health. And, you know, I wasn't just reading this book. I was reading this book, learning about, you know, all the different things that, all the different like symptoms and things that can be related to a messed up liver. And I was reading other sites too. I was reading all over the internet, like Instagram. I was getting out books, learning all about liver health. And something really clicked and I was like, okay, maybe, you know, maybe this could work. Like, I should do something to clean out my liver. Fast forward a few weeks, we went to France for 2 weeks, ate a bunch of like really decadent, heavy foods like cheeses and lots of meat. Didn't eat any bread because I am like strictly gluten-free because I know that will trigger migraines for me. So I did not partake in any of like the delicious French pastries. But yeah, drank a lot of wine, a lot of champagne, and was just feeling pretty like digestively not very well. At the very end of our trip in France, I got a terrible chest cold, like started in my sinuses, went into my chest, super, super sick. Also during the same time, there was like so much happening in like the March, April, May period. Our insurance also changed to be really, really, really crappy. So when we got back from France, actually we didn't have insurance for a couple of weeks because there was this whole change with my husband's job. We didn't have insurance, and then it was like, oh, here's your $7,000 deductible. And I was like, screw that, I'm not going to a doctor. Anyway, I used a bunch of herbal stuff to heal my chest. And then during that time, I'm like, I need to change my life. I need to boost my immune system. I need to heal. I can't handle this anymore. I need to get better. So I really started diving into this book. And in this book, Anthony Williams does talk a ton about celery juice and using celery juice as a method for healing your body. Now, I do want to say, Anthony Williams is a medium. Yes, he's the medical medium. So like a medium. So like there's like a spirit that talks to him and tells him like what is going on with people and what like the root cause of their problems are. So I want to throw that out there because I know a lot of people are super, super skeptical, and I am like a huge skeptic too. But this is literally the only thing that has helped me. Like within the last 4 months, I feel like I've actually started really healing my body. And it's all been from this person. So yeah, anyway, Anthony Williams says that a lot of these issues, like chronic fatigue, acne, eczema, psoriasis, like Hashimoto's, like thyroid problems, like all this stuff, it's stemming from a virus or a bacteria. So he talks a ton about Epstein-Barr, and he also talks a lot about strep. And these are the two viruses that really, really resonated with me, and all of the things I was dealing with. And he talks about how celery juice can deal with all of them. So yeah, that's why I started celery juicing. And it's really, really helps me a lot. Alrighty, so my celery juicing journey began at the very end of May, like very end of May, just a couple of days before June. Now we are September 20th. So I've been doing this just under 4 months. Now, when I first started, I was only doing 16 ounces of celery juice in the morning. Now I am up to 32. This is 32 ounces. One of these big old quart jars. So what I do every morning when I first wake up, I come downstairs, obviously feed the cats, do my little household chores. Then I drink 16 ounces of water with the juice of half of a lemon or half of a lime. I drink that, and then I wait at least 30 minutes, usually more like they're like 45 or an hour, just because I don't want that to dilute the celery juice. Then I will drink my celery juice. I started with, again, I started with 16 ounce. I think I did 16 ounces for about 3 months. I really only recently switched to doing the 32. And I think it's really helping. Like the 16 ounces was good to sort of get into it, but now I feel like 32 ounces, it just has so much more power, and it's really, really helping a lot. So after I drink my celery juice, obviously I'm talking now, so I'm not chugging it, but usually I make this and it's gone within like 3 minutes. I just chug the stuff down just to be done with this part of my day. After I drink my celery juice, I wait at least 30 minutes before eating or drinking anything else. Usually in my case, I'm just not very hungry in the morning, so I usually wait more like 45 minutes or an hour. So Medical Medium also has an actual book dedicated just to celery juice called Celery Juice. And in this one, it talks more about like the process of making it and everything. And he talks about how you can use a blender or a juicer. Now, when I first started making my celery juice, I was actually using a blender. You can either use a blender or a juicer. Either works fine. I've used both. Obviously now I prefer using a juicer. But a blender works just fine. Now, the reason I was using a blender at first instead of a juicer, because I have a juicer. I did a juicing video on here like 3-4 years ago. I have a masticating juicer by the brand Kuvings, which I love. It's a great juicer, but for straight celery, it gets clogged up. I tried a couple times. It was always a headache. It was always jammed up. So that is why I started using a blender. So I would put, I would take a bunch of celery, chop it up, put it in my blender, like pulverize my celery, and then I would strain it through a nut milk bag and squeeze it out. And that works perfectly, perfectly fine. Then at the beginning of July, I got my mom's old centrifugal juicer, which is great. Works perfectly fine. I don't have any problems using this type of juicer for making celery juice. And I'm gonna show you how I make my celery juice. And I wanna point out that this whole process from like getting the stuff out of the fridge, cleaning it, juicing it, and the whole cleanup, which I'm not gonna show you because that's boring. The whole process usually takes me about 20 minutes every morning. Alrighty folks, so this is the juicer that I use. So this is a Jack LaLanne Power Juicer Express. This is a centrifugal juicer, which basically means underneath here there is a big thing with blades and it spins really fast, and that is how you get juice. Now I want to point out in the little pulp bin, I put a nut milk bag in here. That's what this thing is in here. I put this in because at the end I'm going to show you I squeeze out all kinds of extra juice. I don't want to be wasting any juice doing this whole celery juicing process. So that really helps me get maybe like an additional half cup of juice sometimes. And then finally, I do use a 2-cup Pyrex measuring cup just to gather my juice. This juicer didn't actually come with a pitcher. All right, so here is my celery. If I was only going to do 16 ounces, I would just do 1 bunch of celery. But because I want to do 32, I'm going to do 2. So first things first, I'm going to cut off the ends of these. I want to cut off here, and then I spin it around, and then I cut off a bit here. So this is stuff I'm not going to juice. I want to have nice, cleanly cut ends. Set that aside. I do put all of these ends and these little bits into a compost bin, and then actually later today I will go bury this in my garden. And now I'm gonna wash the celery. I give it a pretty good rinse. If you really wanted to scrub it down, you could. I know I have seen some people using soap, but I usually just give it a very good rinse. Make sure all the dirt is off. All right, we got our celery clean. So now I like to cut it in thirds. This will make it easier to put into the juicer. And now that that is ready, we juice. All right, so once this guy is pretty full, then I put it into a big old mason jar and continue the process. All right, so I've got about 2 cups in there and about 1 cup in there. Now I'm gonna show you how I squeeze out the rest of it. So take this off, and you know, you can see there's some pulp stuck in here. So I'm gonna scrape that into the little milk bag. And then I also scrape out the blades. The stuff on the blades is usually pretty dry. This doesn't actually have too much moisture in it, but you know, since I'm doing it, might as well. Pop this out, and then you can see, you know, there's this much pulp. This still has plenty of liquid in it. All right, so we started at about 1 cup of liquid in there, just slightly under. And you see, you can really get out a lot of extra juice from the pulp. It's also a good hand workout in the morning. Sometimes if I'm feeling pretty weak, this tires me out. And I always kind of do one of these. I always take it, push it down a little bit more so it's easier to maneuver. So already I've probably squeezed out an extra half cup. And again, the celery juice pulp goes into the compost bin as well to get buried. Sometimes I will feed it to the worms, but I don't have too many worms going right now. There we go, perfect. Got my 32 ounces. That was a perfect amount of celery. So that's it. That is how I make my juice. Again, 20 minutes, start to finish. You know, this has just kind of become a part of my day. Yes, getting out the juicer, it's kind of annoying. Actually, I don't even get it out. I just leave it on my counter. I wash everything. Once everything's dry, I reassemble it so it's ready the next morning. This has totally just become a normal thing, and I have been doing this literally every day since one of the last days of May. Now, you may be asking yourself where I buy all of the celery, because yes, if I'm juicing 2 whole bunches of celery every day, that's a lot and it gets expensive. So I want to get into a little bit about like where I buy it, how much, and so on. The main places I have gotten celery are Costco, my local co-op, and Trader Joe's. So Trader Joe's generally has little packages like this. So it's just 2 celery hearts. There's not really a ton of, there aren't really any leaves. You don't really lose a ton of this. I would say this much celery juice, for sure this would make 16 ounces, but I'm not sure I would get 32 out of this. Like there are 2 of these celery hearts in here. I feel like I might need like an extra one to get a full 32 ounces. But a pack like this of organic celery hearts at Trader Joe's, yes, all of the celery I get is organic. I only use organic celery for my juice. I think this is about $2.50 for this. I just bought this yesterday. So about 3 months ago at Costco, they had packs of 3 pretty nice bunches, like 3 pretty good sized bunches of organic celery. And it was like $4.50 for a pack of 3, which is a really good price. Then they stopped stocking that, and they have these little packages now where it's just celery sticks. And I think those are like $5.50, but for me to do 32 ounces, I think I need about 1.5 of those packs. So that gets a little pricey. And then at my local co-op, I've just been buying like big old bunches like this. And probably a month ago, I noticed at the co-op, this celery was $1.49 a pound. Yesterday when I went in, it was $2.29 a pound. And I bought 6 bunches and it was $24. So 1 bunch of celery weighs more than a pound. So I mean, this is probably like, yeah, this is like $4 worth of celery right here. And I use 2 of these every morning, so I better be healing. So yeah, the prices of celery certainly are fluctuating. There have been times I've been at Trader Joe's or the co-op and they've totally been sold out of celery. And there was one moment I was at the co-op and there were not very many celery bunches left. And I was taking a few, and there was a lady next to me and she was taking a few too. We didn't speak, but we had this like unspoken conversation, like, yeah, you're doing celery juice too, good for you, you go. So yeah, celery juice, like sourcing celery can be kind of difficult nowadays because this is very, very popular, and the prices are fluctuating. Now, I did buy a case of celery from my local co-op. I got a 40-pound case for $64, probably like 3 weeks ago. I just finished it. And I think there were 24 bunches of celery in that case. I liked having that case. It was a lot. I mean, it definitely was a lot. We do have an extra refrigerator, so the fridge space wasn't an issue, but I did find that after like 2 weeks, a lot of the celery, like it wasn't pretty and green like this anymore. It was just kind of like wilted and yellow, and like the juice I would make would kind of be like brown, and I'm sure it's still probably helpful and is gonna have its magical powers and whatnot, but I prefer to have like a nice pretty drink like this. So anywho, I may try to get another case of celery in the future. It just kind of depends on the price. I'm really hoping that prices go down a little bit. All right, so that's all the backstory and how I make celery juice and whatnot. I want to talk about things I have noticed and why I am continuing to do this, because I have actually really noticed some changes. Now, in addition to doing the celery juice, I have completely cut out dairy. I have completely cut out eggs. And obviously like wheat, also soy. I generally don't do soy. I'll sometimes have a tiny bit of tamari here and there, but within the last like month, like no soy whatsoever. In addition to that, I've also started taking a lot more supplements, in particular like liquid supplements and various herbs. So I'm like really hitting this crappy feeling head on. I'm doing everything I can. I'm making sure I sleep enough because I need to get my life back. I need to feel better again. All right, so here are the things that I have noticed that have changed. So I used to have this patch of eczema on this finger. I've had this since 2012. When I lived in Korea, I took Roaccutane for my skin for about 9 months. And after that, I got this horrible patch of eczema that would not go away. And it would get particularly bad in the winter when it was dry, and really, really bad about a week before I would get my period. Like, to the point where, like, I mean, it was almost bleeding. It was so painful. And obviously for me, you know, I'm washing dishes a lot, I'm cooking a lot. So this was just really, really raw, really, really painful. This is almost gone. There's just like a teeny tiny little bit of dryness here. But like, for me to look at this finger and be like, wow, it looks like all my other fingers, like, it's amazing. So yeah, for 7 years, I've had this weird patch of eczema on this finger, almost gone. My skin is definitely starting to clear. I don't get any of those like weird, painful, cystic pimples anymore. I still have like some blemishes here and I like some here, but my skin has cleared up so much. It has healed so much. And like, for me, that was a big one. Like, being 34 and having acne as an adult is just like very embarrassing and really frustrating. And I just want clear skin. And it can be so frustrating because I'm doing all these things and I'm not eating crap. And then I see people with like wonderful skin and they're just eating like junk, and I'm just like, that's not fair. Like, oh, the injustice in it. So anyway, eczema has cleared up, acne is getting better. I sometimes get psoriasis in my scalp, not a lot, and this is something I've had since I was a little kid, and that's like basically gone. I don't really worry about that anymore. And then also on my arms, I noticed, like, I remember being 11 years old, and I was like, why are my arms bumpy? It was like just like having like little pimples on my arms. Well, that's called keratosis pilaris, and that is almost gone as well. Like, I still have just a few little bumpies, but for me to be like, oh my God, my arms are smooth again, like, it's crazy. It's awesome. Another random thing that I really had only been noticing like last winter, I was getting a lot of styes. You know, they're like the weird little, they almost look like little pimples like on the waterline, on like your lash line, either like upper lash line or lower. I was getting styes and it was so strange. And it just seemed like, you know, every couple of weeks I would have one. No more. I have not gotten a stye for at least the last like 3 months. Okay, probably way too much information, but I get those tonsil stones. This is like my full-on like tell the world all of like my ailments. I get those like weird tonsil stones. Like, if you push on like your tonsils, this like crap comes out, this like white stuff. It's really gross and it smells really bad and it gives you like bad breath. I have that and it's nasty. I don't have it on this side anymore. Like, I still get it a little bit on the left side, but the right side, like, it doesn't matter like how much I push, there's like nothing coming out. So that's awesome. Now, regarding digestive stuff, I am not nauseous anymore. I very rarely am nauseous. If I do get nauseous, it's generally because I've got a headache or a migraine. And I always get nauseous whenever I have a headache. So I do not have this like daily feeling of being nauseous. I don't wake up being nauseous anymore. So amazing. Don't have that feeling of morning sickness like every day of my life. Not nauseous. I very rarely get bloated. Sometimes like around my period, I will feel a little bit bloated, and I'm not constipated often anymore, like very, very rarely. So just like digestively, I feel so much better. I also just feel like I'm digesting food. You know, before I started doing any of this, I did feel like, especially if I would eat meat, I feel like it would just sit in my stomach and rot. Like, it felt like it just took so long for my body to digest meat. And now I do not have that feeling anymore, which is really, really cool. Regarding energy, I still have my moments where I get pretty pooped, but it's not nearly as bad as it had been. I'm really, really excited to just continue this process and see how I feel after like a full year of doing this cell reducing and all of my supplements and all this like self-care stuff. Because if I feel this good now after like 3.5 months, oh my God, after a year, I'm gonna be like running for president, I mean, maybe I should. Also regarding like mood, I do feel like my mood is better. I do feel like I have like a better outlook on things, and my mood in general is more even. I still can get kind of bitchy around like my period, but it's not as bad as it had been. Also, I feel like my periods are way better. Like it's not nearly as painful. I'm not as crampy. Like I still get kind of crampy, but it's not as bad as it had been. And I just feel like my periods are way shorter and just like more easy to tolerate. Now, I do want to point out, if you decide you're going to start doing the celery juice thing, just be forewarned to probably start it on a weekend, because the first couple days I started doing this, I was in the bathroom all the time. And I was just like, it wasn't like explosive diarrhea or anything. Like I've seen videos online making fun of celery juicing, and it's just like this huge joke, like diarrhea nonstop. I didn't have that, but I definitely felt like it just cleaned out my intestines so well. And like literally, I was just like, where is this coming from? Like, where is all of this poop coming from? Where has this been hiding? Like, how is this even like physically possible? So I would say for the first like maybe 2-3 days, I experienced that. And then my digestion was just like pretty normal. So yeah, there you go. That is my experience with celery juicing and how I celery juice. And I'm sorry this was such a long video, but I really had a lot to get out there. So yeah, I'm gonna continue celery juicing. I've been doing it almost 4 months. Really excited to see where I am, you know, after another 4 months and then after a full year of doing this. Because I can really notice like small changes now, and it's really exciting. You know, when you've been dealing with these chronic problems for years and getting nowhere with doctors and just spending money and trying so many different things, and it's so frustrating. I feel your pain. I get it. But then when you start to see little things, you're like, holy crap, is this actually working? Like this eczema on my finger, this was so gross. And like, you know, obviously I like show my hands on here and like cooking and stuff, but sometimes I just felt like I couldn't, or like I was like so grossed out, like I had to be very like careful of like hand placement, whatever, so I didn't show off my like nasty flaky peeling finger. But now it's almost gone. So it really does give me hope that, you know, within a year, like, you know, within a couple years, like hopefully I will be back to my normal, positive, energetic self. Also, if you have tried celery juicing, or if you are doing any of the other things that Medical Medium recommends, please let me know. I have been doing a lot of other stuff that he recommends, like regarding food and supplements and whatnot, and I have found that all of these things together have really, really helped my health. So there you go. Cheers to your health. I'm gonna finish my celery juice. So thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.